Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki, known here as the One-Handed Bandit. So in my last video, I presented some black-owned brands, and those were some of the most popular black-owned brands. So today I'll be featuring some of brands that are not so popular and brands that I have already purchased myself with my own money. So let's get started. So my skin is feeling a little bit dry today, and I know I featured this brand on my last video, but this is the Beauty Bakery primer oil. Now if you are oily, I don't recommend this. I have dry skin. My face is extremely dry right now, so this is why I'm going to use this. I couldn't find another brand that had a makeup. Wait a minute, I think I do. So I have this primer by Range Beauty, R-A-N-G-E, and I was going to use their foundation today, but I did find out that I have their primer as well, so I will be using this primer. And I like to do my primers before I do my eyes so that the product can work into my skin, and whenever I'm ready for the makeup application, the primer is already, you know, ready for my foundation. So this is the primer. It's a bronzing primer, and I have the shade Quicksand. Now I purchased these, I believe, back in 2018 or 19. And I totally forgot that I had them. I know I was doing that last video where I was featuring a lot of black-owned brands, and I found this one, but I was already in the process of doing that video, so I decided to do another video to feature this brand and the other brands that I'm about to present. So this bronzing primer, it kind of looks like a foundation. So I'm going to, I think I tried this before. I mean, there's product on this, so it looks like I tried it. So let me just go ahead and just prime my face. So it's not very watery. It's kind of a thick consistency, but it goes on very light. So I'm not sure how this product works, if it's, you know, if a little bit goes a long way. I did go ahead and do my brows off camera. I am going to fix them at the end, but I just went ahead and just got started with my brows. Now as far as eye primers or eye base, I personally don't have any black-owned eye bases or primers, and I'll be using the P. Louise base. This is in Rumor 3. And with P. Louise, you don't need a lot of product. And I like to use my concealer brush just to blend it out. Well, just to spread the product. And then I'm just going to take my blending brush and make sure everything is evenly blended. So I'm not sure what color I'm going to go with today. I know I've been using a lot of red tones, fuchsia, purple. I know I did a blue look recently on my Instagram. So I want to try something different and do something bright and colorful. It is basically the summertime. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this palette by the Makeup Chamber. And this is also black owned as well. It has this little thing here for your finger, like a real palette, like an artist palette. And this is what the back of the cover looks like. And this is what the actual palette looks like. I've tried this palette before in the past. I did actually like it. It is very pigmented. So because I do use my right hand, this is going to be a little tricky for me. But I'm going to use this tan shade right here, which is called Lynette. And I'm just going to use that as a, just as a base color just to get me started. So this color is basically my skin tone. It really doesn't look like I'm adding any product to my eye. So it's a very nice skin tone color, which is very good for blending and transitioning. So I know I said I wanted to stay away from the purples, but I want to use the purple as just a transition color. So I'm going to go in with this purple, which is called Calo. So this is a nice purple. It's not too deep. So now that the purple is applied, I'm going to go ahead and add the next shade. And I think I want to use pink. So I'm going to use this pink right here, which is called Brianna. So I'm just going to clean off my brush and go back in with the first shade that I used, the tan shade. And I'm just going to use that to help me blend out the pink. So now that that's blended, I'm going to go ahead and add some more purple just to deepen it up a little bit. So the palette has a black in it, and I don't think I want to do a black. I don't want it that dark. So I'm going to go in with, yeah, I'm going to use the brown right here, which is called Betty. I just added a little bit of black to deepen it up a little bit. So I cut my crease off camera, and now I am going to apply my lid shade. I'm attracted to golds. These two are gold shimmers here, and this one is matte. But I think I want to keep it kind of light. So I'm going to go with this pink shimmer here in the center, which is called Piper. And I'm going to add that to my lid. And I'm just going to go back in with the black and mix it with some of the brown. And I'm just going to bring this over just a little bit because this side is more than this side. Just a little bit. I'm going to go back with the pink and just blend around the edges. For liner, I'm going to use this Sharp Me liner by the Crayon Case. Fenty mascara. So I mentioned that I used the primer by Raine Beauty. I'm also going to use their foundation. I do have two of them, and I still don't think I picked the correct shade. So let me see. This one is, it's the shade Sol, S-O-L. And the second one is Sahara Rose. So here's the two shades so you can see the color comparison. One is much darker than the other. So I believe I'm going to use the shade Soul, which is lighter because I am going to bronze. So it'll also add a little bit of depth and darken up my face a little bit. So I'll use the shade Soul. So I like to take a little separate concealer brush and just apply the foundation, and then I blend it out. And then I take the brush and go right over my brows. And no matter what foundation I use, I always do this step. I take my little brush and go over my brows with whatever foundation I'm using. They have another shade that is in between these two, so I think I'm going to pick it up. These foundations are not expensive at all. They're very reasonably priced. I think I want to add just a little bit of Sahara Rose because this is extremely light. I'm going to add Sahara Rose. So see the difference between the two? So I'm adding the darker colors around the perimeter so that it doesn't look so bad. They do have a good range of color. It's just that I didn't choose the correct one for me. So it actually blends out really nicely. It's not too light. I'm not sure if it's because of the bronzing primer that I used or if it's just the combination of the two colors mixed, but it looks like a very nice foundation shade. So had a slight hiccup and had to change the hair, but this is the foundation. This where I record is very hot and I have 3 lights on, so I do kind of look kind of shiny and oily, but it is because I'm very hot. If you are oily, I don't recommend this foundation, but if you're dry or combo like me, then you'll probably enjoy this foundation. But me being shiny, like I mentioned, is more than likely because of all the lights that I have on. So as far as concealer, I don't have a black owned concealer. I do have the Beauty Bakery, their first concealer, but that one I'm pretty much scraping the sides to try to get some product, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use this concealer. It is by the brand Kosas, K-O-S-A-S. And this is in the shade 7.5. I think I went a little too light, but that is okay because I do like a bright under eye. Well, no, I think it's okay. I also picked up their foundation as well, and I got the shade 07, which with that, I do believe I could have went one more shade darker. I'll be so happy when Sephora opens and I can go in store and try products out. I saw this brand Kosas in Sephora before the shutdown, and I was meaning to go back and take a look at it and try the shades out in person, but I never got a chance to go back. So that's that. I usually like to let my concealer dry down a little bit because that's a tip that I learned from Jackie Aina, and I love the way that her makeup looks, so I kind of picked up that tip as well. And I'm just going to add a little bit of concealer here. And just to speed it up, I'm going to take my hand fan and just dry down the concealer a little bit. So I'm just going to blend this out. And I'm just going to go back in with my foundation brush just to blend this all out. Now, for setting powder, Range Beauty also has a setting powder, and it is a translucent mineral powder. And this is what it looks like. I picked up the shade medium, so it kind of has like a pink undertone to it. And I'm just going to use that to set my concealer. So this is the powder, and just tap off the excess. Pretty good job with setting my under eye. And this brush that I'm using is the 9 AM brush by the Crayon Case. They just came out with a new brush, I believe a few days ago. Now that that's set, I don't have another black owned setting powder, so I'm just going to use my Jouer Cosmetics setting powder. This is the Hydrate Plus setting powder in the shade Dark. And now to add some more definition to my face, I'm going to use the Prime Beauty bronzer, and this is in the shade Bronzeville. I love this company. I use their bronzer all the time, and this is what the bronzer looks like. So you don't have to go very heavy with this bronzer. It is extremely pigmented, so you want to use a light hand. And this is a Sephora Pro brush number 50. I do not like doing my makeup with my hair done because the hair gets all in the makeup. It gets in my face. So I prefer to do it with maybe a bonnet on, a scarf, but never with my hair on. I'm going to go back with that first powder brush. I'm also going to use that bronzer just to contour my nose a little bit, and like I mentioned, it's very light. And I'm just going to add a pop of color, so just a little bit of the pink. least, I do also have a loose highlighter by the Raine Beauty as well. It comes in these little pots, and I'm not sure of the shade that I have because it doesn't have a name on the back. I'll have to check my email for my invoice, and I'll leave it down in the description box. And it looks like this. And always I like to add a little bit of finishing powder under my eyes after all my looks. So I'm using this MAC powder. This is in the shade NC43. My under eye just a little bit. And for lips, I'm going to use the Pat McGrath liner in the shade Ground Control. For lips, also black owned, I'm using the lipstick in the shade Socialite by Colored Raine. This is how light it is. And I like to set using this facial mist by Trader Joe's, the Watermelon Mist. And I've been using this pretty much all summer. And that is it. That is the final look. I hope that you have enjoyed and also try out some of these black owned brands. Raine Beauty, the Makeup Shack, Pat McGrath, the Prime Beauty, all of these brands, and tell me what you like about them down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.